When I turned 30, everything changed. It felt like an ordinary day, just like any other. I was at work, but then, in the middle of the usual clutter, one message caught my eye. "We need to talk." It was from an unknown sender. Inside was a short, cryptic message. "I've been waiting a long time to see you. Meet me at the park near your apartment at 6 p.m. Mom, my heart stopped. This had to be a joke, right? Someone was messing with me. My mother had died. This was a fact I had lived with for 3 decades. But there was something about the message that I couldn't shake, an inexplicable pull. Against my better judgment, I decided to go. At 6 p.m. sharp, I arrived at the park. It was the same place I passed by every day on my way to work, but tonight it felt different, charged with a strange energy, like something important was about to happen. I sat down on a bench, my eyes scanning the area, searching for someone who looked like they might be my mother. And then I saw her. A woman in her mid-50s was walking toward me. She had dark hair streaked with gray, and though her face was lined with age, there was something familiar about her. Something in the way she moved, the way she held herself, made me stand up without thinking. She walked right up to me and smiled, her eyes soft but filled with a sadness that seemed to stretch across years. "Hello, Sam," she said, her voice quiet but steady. I froze. No one called me Sam, except my father. And somehow, just hearing her say my name made the world tilt on its axis. This was her. This was my mother. "I don't understand," I stammered. "You're supposed to be dead." She sighed deeply, as if she had been carrying a heavy weight for years. "That's what I needed you to believe," she said. "But I'm not dead. I had to leave to protect you." I couldn't process what she was saying. Protect me? From what? I felt anger rising up inside me. "You abandoned me," I said, my voice trembling. "You left me without a mother for 30 years. Why?" She looked down at her hands, clearly struggling with how to explain. "There are things you don't know, Sam. Things I couldn't tell you. Not when you were a child, and not until now." I could barely hold back the flood of emotions surging through me. "Like what? Why would you leave me with no explanation?" She met my eyes, and there was a heaviness there that made me pause. "Your father. He's not who you think he is." My mind raced. "What do you mean?" She took a deep breath. "When you were born, your father was involved in dangerous things, illegal things. I found out, and when I tried to take you away from him, he threatened us both. I had to disappear, Sam. If I hadn't, you would have been in danger too. I couldn't risk him turning on you." I felt the ground shift beneath me. My father? The man who had raised me, cared for me, who I thought had sacrificed everything for me. He was the reason my mother had disappeared? No. No. That can't be right, I said, shaking my head. He loved me. She placed a hand on my arm, her eyes filled with pain. "I know he did, but he was dangerous, Sam. I've spent the last 30 years trying to find a way to come back for you, to make sure you were safe. When I finally heard that he had passed away, I knew it was time to find you." I was stunned. My father had passed away a few months earlier, and though it had been a difficult time for me, I had never imagined it would lead to this moment. "I never wanted to leave you," she whispered, "but it was the only way to keep you safe." My anger began to dissolve, replaced by a confusing mix of grief and relief. "Why now?" I asked. "Why did you wait so long?" She hesitated, then said softly, "Because now, you're strong enough to know the truth." We sat there in silence, the weight of the years between us hanging in the air. I had so many questions, but for the first time in my life, I didn't feel the emptiness anymore. It wasn't the reunion I had imagined, but somehow, it was exactly what I needed. I had found my mother, and though it was 30 years later, in that moment, it felt like I was finally home.